We got the blue car in here today. It is kind of winter. Been kind of busy. That's why nothing was posted. Just taking on some other jobs. I'm finally getting to the point where I actually have a different exhaust for this. Right now it has magnaflow exhaust on. I don't know. Some of you have maybe seen some of the other videos and maybe heard some sound clips of it. But I have a cold start sound clip, and I have a clip just revving it up a little bit, kind of went a little high just to try to get a little bit of poppy sound off of it. But basically this exhaust is a 3-inch elbow and then it's 3-inch back into 2.5. It does have a high flow cat installed, an aftermarket one, and a resonator in the exhaust. But what we're going to be installing is we're transferring over to MPX. Now that has the smaller resonator in it, and it's full 3-inch the whole way back through, and it will have the high flow cat installed in it also. So with that being said, let's get this car right here up onto the quick jacks and get this hood popped and start taking this exhaust off. So right here down through this area, it's actually really easy to stick your arm down through there and you can undo the downpipe right at the elbow. So we're going to remove our shock tower brace and get it out of the way. So if you look down in here, you can see the downpipe down there. And basically what I'm going to do is I'll reach down and I'll get a wrench on here and I'll get these bolts off. So, alright, now that I'm under here, I wanted to kind of try to just give you a view of how the magnaflow exhaust is fitting up into here. I don't know, hopefully you can see the elbow in there. Alright, now it looks like this is something that was welded in later, and it does have the V-band clamps. I guess that's so you can take this in and out. So this, I'm guessing, is where they had their sensor going in for the AFR gauge, but I just put a O2 sensor in there just to fill the hole because I didn't have a block off plate. You can tell this here was welded at one time, I'm assuming. You can see magnaflow on the side of the resonator, and maybe that could be a stock weld. Looks like it's more stock on the top, and it goes back out through to here. Now I knew I had this leak here already that needed to be repaired, so I don't know if that was picking up any noise in the video or not because of that. And this right here was modified a little bit by someone at one time. It's kind of funny because I'm laying upside down looking at it, so are you. And they actually spaced this down and moved the exhaust over so that it was centered up in the rear bumper. So, but yeah, we're taking all this off. This is kind of weird how they have this one running in on this side. I'm hoping that the MPX fits with this. It does look like it runs out around on this side and feeds the exhaust to the center that way. So that's going to be the only other questionable thing when installing the other exhaust. So let's get this stuff pulled off. Alright, now what I have is the light facing the wrong way. Now, to get up to these, when stuff has rust on it, I usually like to take a real small brush and then clean this stuff off. I mean, the plan is this is not a bad exhaust, so it is usable on something else. Someone can use it. So get them cleaned off. And it looks like these ones here are going to be a 17. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap on them. I'll probably grab a hammer. Now, here's another nice little trick I use, flathead screwdriver. Get up inside of here. Maybe I'll have to get in on that other top side. But what I do, this one-handed here is not going to work. Alright, there we go. We got it, one-handed. Now I just take a little bit of WD-40, and what I do is I'll spray that in here. Alright, and then I'll use the screwdriver and I'll move it around inside the rubber, and that makes that rubber, you can just grab a hold of it and it slides right off then. So that makes getting those off pretty easy. I'm going to get this, the hammer I want for that, put some gloves on, spray this stuff without the camera in the way so you don't get any backsplash, and show you how it comes off. Alright, now we're up top, working on this. We're down to the last bolt. I did get some of these off. I mean, they're a little rusty, but I mean, they came right out easy. I did put this exhaust on a while back. Basically just taking a wire brush, cleaning these top threads right there, and then some of these ones were 14, stock ones I think are 13s. I just have a 13 ratchet wrench, so I'm just going to come down here through here. You can see where I got my arm, and then I'm just going to unratchet this. Usually like the bottom one here, I reach over the top and you can kind of get to it that way. Seems to be pretty easy. But everything else is off exhaust wise. So once I get this off, I'm going to, I'll actually set this one down next to the MPX, and I do have a stock exhaust system. So I'll set that one next to it, and then you can kind of at least get to see what the difference is side by side in case you've never seen that before. All right, now, stock exhaust, magnaflow, and then the MPX is on the end. I just kind of wanted to give you a back overview of what it looked like all together. Put this off the camera stand. Alright, now you can see in the tail sections, this is the stock tail section, magnaflow and MPX, and you can see the differences there. And then if you work up through how they connect, this one's actually backwards. Kind of limited on some room. Okay, there we go. I'm kind of limited on room. Anyway, motor. We got like, yeah. So this was just easier than doing this outside since it's a little cold. It's finally a little warm in here with the heater running. But anyway, you can see it comes down through the size of this resonator next to that resonator. in the mid pipe. And then your stock has these two small resonators right here. All right. Now when you come up here to the downpipe, that's the stock downpipe. And like right here and here is filled with catalytic converter pieces. Okay. So you have that. And then here is the high flow one that I was running. And then here's the high flow one that comes from the MPX. Now, here's something funny. Now this one has a second hole for the AFR gauge up here, as I've shown. Now this one here, this right here is actually where this is supposed to go for the, you would think that your AFRs would be in front of your catalytic converter, but for some reason they have this one welded in behind. Or actually, this pipe here should actually be spun around. So it was just put back together wrong when they stuck the cat in. So, but anyway, here's for your AFR gauge, and then here's for your rear O2. Okay. Now, I pulled this, got this with a car, and the cool thing about this is here's where your secondary O2 goes, which is a little weird. And it does kind of show you, there's a lot of extra catalytic converter here that isn't used for emissions stuff unless it's tested on the tailpipe. But this just tests to make sure that this front part of the catalytic converter here, it doesn't check anything in the rear. But someone had actually welded in a second thread point here to put an AFR gauge into a stock pipe, which I thought was kind of funny. So here's where you kind of get the grasp of the difference in the opening going into the pipe. Try to hold on to this thing, it's really heavy. You can see the size difference right there and right there. It's a big difference. Now, we all know that this one over here is a 3-inch also. Okay, so it's big. Now we have 3-inch here. This actually, the rest of the downpipe here is 3-inch, and then it drops down in size to this here. So, but your factory is that same size the whole way back. Now, these are resonators are, you can't see in that one, or this one, or that one because it has the pipe on it. But they are straight through. They're kind of like a glass pack muffler. This is all they are. And like I said, you can see the distance right here on these pipes. Factory one kind of slides over. I think a lot of what changes the sound on these is the shape of this rear section here, because the stock exhaust actually sounds pretty good if you eliminate, you know, or if you put a downpipe on here, an aftermarket downpipe, and delete a cat, which I don't recommend depending on your location or your use of your car. But if you put one on, because I've seen them already without the cat, this stock exhaust actually sounds pretty good. It's not as loud, it's not as free-flowing. These here are supposed to sound pretty good. I've heard them on cars, so I'm really curious to see how it sounds, which we'll be able to have a sound clip of that. So now I'm going to put all this stuff away, clean up this mess, and get everything ready to start installing our MPX exhaust. Alright, so I wanted to get down in here, show you where I'm at. We are now starting to get the MPX exhaust installed. I have these two pieces up. I'm actually going to connect it here. I'm just going to reuse the old bolts, but I'm going to actually coat them with some copper-based anti-seize. I think this is good for like, what, 1800 degrees? So, we're just going to coat these. So if we ever have to take it apart or change out any of the bolts, because they always get bad before the exhaust. And we got the gasket, so I'm going to get this stuff together, which is going to take 2 hands, and I'm going to work my way up through and get the rest of the exhaust on. Alright, we got, oops. Alright, we got all 3 bolts through. I fed all mine through from that side, so the nuts were over here. and that way I could do it by hand. That way they're up in here. Just seems to work out easier that way. Some of them, I mean, you can't stick the bolt that way. This is 3-inch pipe, so you know they made it fit pretty good. And then you can see how this comes around on the outside of this lower part of this bar instead of through here like my other exhaust did. But it's all mounted up. Fits really good. I mean, that's just the tail section so far. So we're gonna work on getting this. I just since it was together, I really wanted to show it off here a little bit. All right, guys. Let's see what this looks like back here. We got that mounted on. There's something. Alright, so hopefully we can see good enough under here without the light. So, alright, now we did check out the tail section, and then it runs up over here and all the way up through. I reused the nuts like I was showed. Yes, this one here I didn't have a part, but I did notice one thing. The car that this was off of was hit in the front end. And if you look, this is where stuff likes to bend if it's ever hit hard in the front. If you're ever checking out an exhaust and it's got like suspension shoved or the motor shoved, or if you're getting used parts, always check this piece here. All right, I mean, it's really tough to tell what clearance I was supposed to have in between here, but it was touching that pretty tight, so I kind of just wrapped a strap around it and pulled it forward. But this up here was bent a little bit at the flange here, so I straightened that out. Just kind of put the jack here and lift it up. Actually mushed over the gasket here some, but I mean, I just have my old O2 filling this hole for now, and the actual downstream one's plugged in here. So we are pretty much at the point of firing this thing up and seeing what this sounds like. Just the sound clip for the MPX. I did have the magnaflow in the beginning. I will clip them and put them together at the very end so you can hear them side by side. I would like to get another one outside the garage sitting in the same place so it sounds the same. So maybe I'll be able to edit that in. But you know, so far, I mean, it sounds pretty good. I mean, we'll get a little in-cabin view here. There we go. A little bit. All right. Well, I'll pretty much call this one this. I got a couple other things that I'm going to be doing to this car yet, so look forward to let's knock that over. Look forward to seeing them hey, in the next video. So as you noticed, we had an extra spot for an AFR gauge, so I think we're going to finally get to doing that. And there's a couple other things. What were they? But yep, we're gonna go dig out some of the stuff off of our toy shelf and actually start getting them onto this car. So this is kind of pretty much the first thing. I'm getting stuff set up to, yeah, maybe do a motor or transmission yet. So, till the next one. See ya.